inaugural week of this Institute of Advanced Endoscopy and Gastroenterology. We are really happy that we were able to do a Train the Trainers course. This unit has the privilege of being the first ones to introduce lots of other things in Pakistan, and Train the Trainer course is one of that as well. So this is our second Train the Trainer course, and we are really, I think we are honored to have Paul here. As always, so Paul has been here since last, I think, a week or so now, Paul. You came on Monday? Yeah. So he was there for inauguration, then we just finished hands-on colonoscopy training course yesterday, and today we are starting the Train the Trainer course. So now Paul would take you through, give you a brief overview of what we are going to do. But before that, we would like you to introduce yourself and tell us something about yourself.
Bear in mind, you will do that in my English, so I said, ask your name, you might have to spell it, and it's not you, right?
My name is Dr. Imranullah.
Imran?
Imranullah. U-double-L-A-H. Imranullah. I'm working as assistant professor in Department of Gastroenterology, Hyderabad Medical Complex, Peshawar.
I always do that when I don't spell very well. So what's your objectives of today? Bear in mind, objectives are different from aims.
My main objective in today workshop is to learn how to teach the juniors and learn new things regarding colonoscopy, new advances, new approaches, and to
What's your aim?
My aim is to learn about US endoscopic. Today?
What are you aiming to learn?
Yes. My aim is to learn different techniques, especially in which will help in teaching the juniors, because it is also very specialized different techniques, and to convey those to the newcomers, juniors.
So you've got one aim.
And communication as well?
Obviously,
Learn how to communicate?
yes. And learn the recent advances in colonoscopies from the faculties, from international faculty.
I'm a bugger. Because I keep putting dots, you keep wanting to find something. So
That's fine.
You can stop it. And you want to stop it.
That's fine.
I'm Mansoorul Haq. Mansoor, M-A-N-S-O-O-R.
S-O-O-R-U-L.
yeah.
Mansoorul H-A-K. Yeah, it's okay. I'm professor at Liaquat National Hospital, Karachi.
LNH.
Can I ask a question before going to
You
this?
can.
Okay, what is the difference between objective and aims?
What is your impression?
That's what I am thinking. That's why I asked you. Well, apparently for me, both things appear same. And the objectives and aims. That is why
If you look at an objective as being something overall, and if you look at an aim being specific. So to achieve an objective, to get to the top of a building, that's your objective. Your aim would be the first floor, the second floor, the third floor.
Fine. So my objective is to refine my techniques of colonoscopy and learn how to deal with the difficulties.
Did you say remind or refine?
Refine. You can add on remind as well, and how to deal with the difficulties. Of doing colonoscopies. Yeah. And to teach my juniors. Aim. Yeah. So my aim is first to learn again the techniques from you in terms of practical, doing colonoscopy and the communication, how to communicate with your colleagues and juniors. That's it.
Is that it?
It's okay. Well, this is main aim.
No, what is?
Thank you.
I'm Abbas, ABBAS, assistant professor.
What doctor or anything like this at the moment? At the moment, everybody's the same, everyone's different. We're talking about everybody being level. You're at home, you are. So it's not being disrespectful, it's just the way.
I'm assistant professor from Lahore. My objective is to learn the basics of a trainer. At the moment, only one objective. Just learn the basics. Aim is to refine my own skill. Second, to learn the skill of transfer of knowledge. Third and utmost is to spread the pain-free colonoscopy in my patients. That's it.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Congratulations, you people as well, for having such a nice institute, advanced institute, developing this, and that will be very helpful for this our needy people and poor patients as well. And welcome to you to this institution in this country. My name is Dr. Ali Haider. Ali Haider. Haider, Hyder. I am associate professor.
What's the difference between associate and assistant?
Uh,
Just me asking. not catching you out.
Just wants to know what's the difference between assistant and associate.
Responsibilities and experience make difference.
So which one has more responsibility?
Associate.
Give me a
Yeah, he wants to know.
And I am from CMC Capital. CMC Ladkana. Chandka Medical College. CMC.
You're not trying to belittle it, that's a motorbike shop.
Yeah.
England.
Oh, thank you. Basically, objectives, I have two objectives. Number one, to get knowledge to for the give best colonoscopy procedure results for the trainees. Number two, to be able to do procedure in a best way with minimal hazards for the patient.
You?
Yeah,
For you to do that, or the training to do that?
if I can do it, I can transform to my trainees. As far as aims are concerned, I am feeling after post-graduation training, this is first course I am appearing in a colonoscopy as a training. So I have some difficulties in colonoscopy procedure. So to make these difficulties, to correct these difficulties, specifically in difficult colonoscopes. Number two, as for interventional procedures like polypectomy or cautery or passing strictures, so to get knowledge, new technique, how to go through these difficult interventional procedures.
All the covered in anonymous.
Ji. And third one, what I have kept in my mind, specifically communication skills. Thank you.
You know what that is? Learning and development. So a way of doing it is core language terms. So he's supporting you. So this is a massive thing. How can we do it? Is to keep things simple. So my aim is to keep things simple. Keep things simple, that then is an aim. Because the objective is this, keep things simple, you can easily build on things as you go along. Now I know you guys are very senior people. You've come today, and welcome to coming today. But what will happen today is that there's going to be something you're going to have a laugh, and sometimes you're going to feel a little bit challenged. So I don't apologise for that, but you're willing to put yourselves through it. What I There's nothing to worry about. You're in a safe environment, and no one's here to deliberately embarrass you or put you in a difficult position. What we're here to do is to get you to look at yourself and what you're doing and what you're not doing, and how you could actually improve for yourself. And improving yourself will help you improve others. The aim of this morning is to go through a few things. I've got a few slides to show you. Before I show you a few slides, I'd like you to get a blank sheet of paper in a moment, and then you'll be choosing amongst yourselves. Now, we've got one chap here. Is the other? Yeah. So we've got Novel. Would you like to introduce yourself, please?
Dr. Nasir.
So, no doctor business.
Nasir.
Nasir. Novel? Yeah. So, I'd like you just to introduce yourselves to these chaps, please, if that's possible, and tell them a little bit about your experience. Just a little bit, not a lot. And then it'll all come clear in a moment.
In the workshop or in general?
Just in general.
Okay, so my name is Dr. Noble Zakaria. I recently cleared my gastroenterology examination on June 2021. I've been working in surgical floor with Dr. Salman's team since January of this year. So it's been a happy 6 months. I had training in the office for 4 months, as Dr. Nasir would have remembered, and I completed my 3 years of training in Al Khan after which I joined here. So it's been a pleasure. It's been great. It's been a learning experience. I'm very lucky to have worked in multiple institutions, including having done my medical residency in Civil. So I think it's a good blend of working in a government setup and a private setup. 2 of the best private setups in the city, actually. So it's been a pleasure, and thank you for having me.
Experience in endoscopy? How many gastroscopy?
Well,
how many colonoscopy?
I would say when I was in Aga Khan, I've probably completed in my 3 years around 350 procedures, according to my log. That would be because of a COVID hiatus in which we did very few procedures that year. But thankfully, ever since I've come over here, according to my log, I've completed 600 procedures, endoscopy and colonoscopies. I've just started incubating ERCPs, just in that learning process. It's not going too well, but I'm hoping to improve my colonoscopy skills further, and endoscopies as well, and some advanced procedures like polypectomies. I still have to get into that. Thank you.
So introducing, because these are going to be your trainees.
Assalamu alaikum.
With somebody else.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Nasir Ahmed. I am from Quetta, and I have completed my FCPS training and examination. I have cleared in 2020. My old training was under the supervision of Dr. Saad Khalid Niaz in Hospital Karachi. After that, I moved to Quetta and was practicing there as a consultant gastroenterologist in Bolon Medical College. Now again, I'm here for the next fellowship, advanced fellowship in gastroenterology in this newly built institute. So my experience as far as concerned, and during the training, most likely I have completed more than, not exactly remembering, but more than 500 colonoscopies. And as far as the OGDs and other procedures are concerned, they are also in hundreds of. So this is my experience regarding.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So you can see that our trainees are not as novices as what you think, but we might throw something in the side. Right. There's 4 teaching scenarios. I'd like you 4 to decide which ones you're going to do. You're not going to do it straight away. At some point later on, about 3 hours, we're going to ask you to do one of these. So discuss amongst yourselves which one you want to do.
Consent.
That's a consent.
You want to take consent?
Okay, he wants to
If
take
everybody is okay.
Remember this, 5 minutes, and you will be timed. Imran?
Yeah. Talk technique.
You'd like to do talk technique? Anybody else like to do talk technique? He wants to do consent.
It's okay.
You didn't object when he said consent? You didn't object. He said he wanted to do consent. You never objected. You just so.
But now he's saying it's okay. I agree with him.
So come on, guys. Which ones do you want to
So
do?
which one you second?
Second, so he's taking snare.
You want to do snare?
Yeah.
Okay. So do you want to write it down? Write it down.
Write it on it.
Whichever one you're doing, can you write it down?
So we have to write it down.
Yeah, write down.
So I-
Just write down what you
That
are.
oh yeah. So the
And the
it is only
discussion.
the fourth one.
Yeah, call it that.
For me, this is the fourth.
We have described.
No, just write your topic.
That's your
and
topic.
You think over it and then you'll be asked to do it later. Later on or not?
No.
Later on.
Later on, once we've gone through, we've got some slides to go through, we've got some work with the mannequin to do, and we'll come back in here, and before lunch we'll do these, and then we'll have to the practicals.
Right.
You got it? Happy? Yes. Great. How did that make you feel? How did that make you feel?
Yes, yes.
A bit, yeah, challenging.
How have it made you feel so far this morning?
Honestly, lazy. Sunday is the time of rest. So,
I think the most important thing that you need to do, is, in all honesty, is relax. I think a lot of you guys are expecting us to come out and start shouting at you. This is a process about self-discovery. This is a process about you looking at yourself. I'm not here, Taz's not here to actually embarrass you at all. We'd like to keep your senior guys, these are your trainees, these need to know what you're thinking, you need to know how you're feeling. At the moment, you are definitely, your posture tells me you're looking a little bit, I'm trying to look cool, but I'm a little bit nervous. I am cautious, I'm a little bit trepidatious. I know what Paul's like is a tricky book. He's worked with before. He hasn't got a clue. He's going, let me just find something. So we're here to enjoy ourselves, okay? We're here to have a laugh. At the end of the day, you will have a laugh. This afternoon is when we will do some serious stuff. But at the end of it, you come out and you go, you know what? That wasn't too bad. That was actually quite a laugh. When we're actually going to be supporting a trainee, what is the most important things that we need to do? How do we know when we're actually going to deliver support for a trainee? What is the right process to follow? So when I actually say that, how a trainee gets stuck. If a trainee gets stuck, what do you do? I'm struggling. I go, excuse me, sir, I'm not clear. What would you do?
I will try to overcome.
So would you take the scope off him?
First, I will teach him how to.
So what would you do then? So I'm going along, doing the scope, and I do this and I say, it's a band-aid, sir, what do I do? I'm looking at this, it's a band-aid, sir, what do I do?
I will teach to draw the scope and toss with how to torque the scope and how to get into the movement.
first, I will ask the trainee, what is your opinion? Why are you stuck? And where are you? And what was you trying to do? And what have you done, and you are not overcome the problem. If, and then I will analyze
So
that.
stop you there. Right. So you jump straight into practical. And if I was to say that to you, there's a fancy term, and I know you know it. If I said to you cognitive overload, and all that you're saying, would that suit what you say? You just said. So training stuck, and you've asked him these 4 big points.
This is
Further-
actually, it is actually the one thing I ask you. One thing I ask, where are you?
Yeah.
This is the problem. Do you think you are in sigmoid colon or somewhere else stuck in, and why do you think you are stuck? Is it because of the, because I would like to analyze what is the patient of the trainee. Is it because of his incompetence or failure to negotiate this, or some disease processes? Because if there is something else, so this is what.
When we're actually looking at trainees, there's an awful lot of skills differences. Some could be as skilled as these guys, some could be just starting out. So what I'm asking you to do now is, let's go back to what an aim would be. We're actually asking you to look at what the foundation is. So what would you be looking at when you're looking at a trainee? You'd be, trainee is stuck. And you're going to ask yourself, why are you stuck? He doesn't know. When you do the answer, you won't be stuck. So it gets as simple as, why are you stuck? Where are you? He doesn't know. You know, he just put the scope in, and he knows where the aim is, and he knows where the sequel is. Everything else to him is, whoa, let's make something up. So in material, you are going to be there supporting him. So you've got an idea of where he is. You've got an idea of why he's stuck. How do you know? You're saying he's stuck. I'm stuck. Right. Okay. So we'll come from that point. He's still stuck. What are you going to do?
First of all, I will be asking, are you having a legal position so that he can come to know whether he is stuck or not? Then I will ask, do you need help? If you say yes, I need help, then I will be asking, what have you done till now to overcome this problem? Have you changed the position? Have you come back from that point? Have you withdrawn your scope?
Okay, can I stop you there? So you're asking him, have you done this? So where have you been during the procedure? If you're asking him, have you done this? Have you been outside the room, or have you been stood next to him?
Okay, if I'm not on that station, I'm not observing at that time.
No, a trainee would be looking for you to be with them all the time. So as a trainee, he's come to you on your training list. He's come to you to be supported by you, not supported by the tech guys. So you should be there. Okay. You train yourself.
Basically, assuming that trainee has got history, trainee has got the...
No assumptions. Dealing with the fact. You trainee, we're not assuming anything here. I'm going in, I'm with this trainee. It's past the scope. Sir, I'm stuck. What shall I do?
I have come back.
Take the scope back.
Yes.
Okay. He's only 2 centimeters in, he takes it back, the scope is now in the
No,
room.
not 2 centimeter. If she has stuck, he or she has stuck somewhere, I have come back, pull the scope, minimize the air, and do the check the scope. Either it is tight or it is soft, and is there any angulation or not, and is there any bend or not. So I will definitely not push the scope, but come back
So we'll go
and
back
minimize
to
the
the key word there. Push, we never push, we always advance. But coming back, some of those things you're saying, as a trainer, you should already know, because you've stood with that trainee. You should already know where you feel that they are. You should know. So depending on their experience, depends on how much leeway you give somebody. The trainee may say, I'm stuck. Okay? Stop. Stop. Keyword. Let's look. Pause a moment. Let's make the patient comfortable. How do we make the patient comfortable?
minimize the air, comfortable.
How do you make the patient stop?
Stop.
How do we make the patient comfortable?
Minimize the air gives.
Minimize the air, so deflate. Deflate.
Yeah, deflate.
Deflate. You could even withdraw the scope a couple of centimetres. So if you're going to say withdraw the scope a couple of centimetres, I will say slowly take the scope back 2 centimetres. Now, take the scope right. Where's the lumen? What do you think you need to do with the tip to get it to make it the most advantageous position, put it in the most advantageous position to go around this bend? So if the lumen direction you feel is at 3 o'clock, what must you do?
I will up the scope and try to rotate.
Do you listen to classical music?
Sometimes.
Classical music? No. No.
Huh?
No music at all?
Yeah, music, but no classical music.
Music? I'll show you now.
That's okay.
Music? Okay. You don't listen to music? Okay. There used to be I haven't got this. I will actually try and find it today. There is a skit where this guy, he gets his piano and he just starts bashing at the piano. And Andre Previn, a very famous conductor, says, stop, walks up to him. And he says, what are you doing? He says, I'm playing Mozart's Fifth. And he says, you're not. He says, I am. He says, you're not. He says, I am playing all the right notes, but in the wrong order. So when we're actually going to try and teach somebody something, we need to think about how to play those notes. All the right notes, in the right order, sounds a lot better, which means the patient is not comfortable. So when you're saying, coming back here, I will put the talk on and then I'll do the tip. You actually say, I'll do the talk, the tip, and then do this. So if that's the direction of the lumen, what happens to a scope when we put the tip up? It shortens. Now we turn. Now we shorten the lumen. So what we should do is get the tip down, advance. We should orientate ourselves. We should slowly raise it and stop because it shortens and advance the scope. Slowly advance the scope. Slowly advance the scope. So when you're actually teaching, you're breaking it down. So when we now, I want you to now think now, back to your aims. Your aim is how to actually put in the steps. These are little steps. Just because I can go at the same time, you can now drive a car. Don't tell me it's an automatic. Do you drive a car?
Very slow.
No. You change the gears. Do you remember learning?
Yeah.
But now it's reflexes. So how did you used to get that? You used to go, I must put clutch down, car slowing down. I must change gear. I must do clutch up slowly so it doesn't pop. Now you go, clutch down, change gear, slowly clutch up, off it goes, no bumping. Same as colonoscopy. Same thing. Just because you can drive now, and then you then take out your children, and you say to them, what are you doing? You're ruining my car. So what do we call it when we actually are going to break it down? We can actually put it into a matrix. Okay? You'll get a copy of these before you go. So when we look at, this is the trainee. This is the trainer. So you're unknowing and you don't know what to do. Say that's the trainer. That you can drive a car, but can I teach you how to drive? All of a sudden, you become aware of what you're doing, but you still can't do it. Then you become aware of what you're doing, and then you become okay at doing it. I never say good. Now you get to 20 years down the line of driving a car, you now don't think about what you're doing, and you still do it. Now, that's where we'd like to get where should a trainee be? Where should both a trainee and a trainer be? I'm going to ask you individually, if I go in this matrix, where ideally should you sit? So I'll put it up here. Where do you think you should be as a trainer?
I think unconscious competence.
You think you should be here? Where do you think you are right now?
Conscious incompetence.
Where do you place yourself? Where do you place yourself and where do you think a trainer should be?
It's a mixture basically.
No mixture. I'm
yeah.
being didactic.
Yeah.
No
You want
mixture.
one? Okay, this is conscious incompetence.
That's where you think the trainer should be or where you think you are?
I am.
Where
The
do you
trainer
think?
should be an unconscious competence.
Tell you what, it's the same. The trainer should be at
Where do you think you are?
conscious incompetence,
Where do you think the trainer should be?
unconscious competence.
I think I am at level of conscious competence.
You think you're there?
Trainee at least should be at conscious.
I'm on about where you think you are. Where should the trainer be, not the trainee?
Trainer to have unconscious competence.
Where should the trainer be?
Unconscious.
This one?
Yeah. Same as
Okay. So, I'm now going to break it down even further. Right. Unconscious incompetence. You don't know what you're doing, you don't know how to do it. Keep it simple. You know what you're doing, but you still can't do it. You know what you're doing, and you know how to do it. You know, you're no longer aware, but you know how to do it. If you say that a trainer should not be aware of what they are doing, how can they teach it? So a good trainer should know what they're doing, therefore they can teach it. They should.
But this stage comes after this
Doesn't
conscious
matter.
competence. It means it doesn't mean that you forget this.
Yeah,
Right.
this is the 4 C's. This is the normal process of learning.
Okay.
This is what happens. This is why I did the analogy of driving.
Right.
Just because you can drive doesn't mean you can teach it. Just because you can do colonoscopy doesn't mean you can teach it. What you need to do is take yourself back a step and break down. If you're not able to be aware of what you're doing, but you can still do it, how can you then deconstruct what you're doing?
Right. But we are talking about the trainer. Trainer means, this is what in my mind.
Yeah.
The trainer means you are giving training to the training.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about the colonoscopy. I'm talking about the training. So that's why personally I took this is unconscious competence, that I am giving training
Yeah.
to the training, but I'm not.
I know it
conscious.
is.
Yeah.
So you understand. So now, if you think about what I was saying right at the beginning, I keep things basic, keeping things simple. This is just purely about delivery of. Everything that we're going to be doing this morning, discussing, is purely about how to do the session, purely about how to deliver.
One way the learning process, with passage of time, with experience and with more knowledge and skill, he or she becomes so competent that while doing procedure or while driving or while doing any skillful act, he or she now to remember how to do that.
That's what we're saying. This is what this
the
is.
reflexes.
That's what this is. But what we're saying, to be a good teacher, you should bring yourself back from that stage.
Right.
You should be in this stage
Conscious competence, yeah.
to be a good teacher. If you're saying, and this is not a if you're saying you're here, I'm going to say to you why you're here. If you already know what you're doing, and you know why you're doing it, and you're competent in doing the procedure, I'm going to say why you're sat there. So this is when this starts to become uncomfortable, because we get you to look at yourself just a little bit. I'm not going to go in the UK now. I would actually then start going. I'd be going for it. I really would. I really would be going for it. And then you'd be going, no, and now I mean I'm this.
That's what I did.
This is where you need to be.
Right.
If we understand that's where we need to be, how can you think about verbalizing where you need to be? How can you, if you don't understand it? I deliberately, when I was saying, sir, I'm stuck, I'm looking at the screen. I'd be thinking, right, your posture's wrong. Your hands going this way, the patient's pointing that way, all this type of thing. You've got to actually think. So when we're actually thinking about things like that, what do we call that in total? So I'm looking at, I said, I'm stuck, sir. Right? So we're looking at then the environment, we're looking at the posture, if you're not stood correctly, how can you actually perform the procedure correctly? When you do an abdominal examination, I'll remember this. So, 23, 22, doing an abdominal examination, I was a bit tired. I'll tell you about it. What side do you stand on when you're doing an abdominal examination?
Right side. Right side.
I stood on the left. Consultant was a bit, what do you do, man? I said, I'm just showing you where. He says, get around here. So, even though you know what to do, you've been doing it, always do it from this side. I'll never forget it. So what I'm saying to you is that in this room, back in the UK, I would then say to you, look, you should be looking. Right, getting back to this. What we need to do, we need set objectives-based observational behaviours. So we're looking at what the person is doing, we're looking at the objectives, and we're looking at our reaction is based on their reaction. It's a basic human concept. It's objective and it's based on observable behaviours. So how that person is performing bases on how we react to them. So our own emotions can cause problems in a training exercise, so an exposing exercise. So you might not like the trainee. That's immaterial. You need to be professional. You get a copy of this. So you don't need to, seriously, you don't need to take I'll be giving you a copy.
Thank you.
So I just think it's easy, then you can just relax and listen to me wobble on. You have to be objective, you can't be subjective. You have to treat people as individuals. They may be being stressed themselves, and you then reacting to that individual, you're reacting to their stress. Who is the worst for that? You or them? Given at an appropriate time or place. So what you're doing is any sport that you're going to do is given at an appropriate time or place. How many of you guys in the younger days have blown out in the middle of the corridor if you do it? Yeah, everyone was. But you'd prefer, I've got no problem with what they said, but I prefer it over here. Same here. So, but when you set ground rules, if somebody breaks those rules, you also set what you're going to say and do to a person. So ground rules can also include the safety codes, what you're going to say, how you're going to stop it. So if somebody, you say right at the beginning, when I say stop, that means stop, freeze, don't do anything. However, when I say stop and you continue, stop, I'll put your hand on you, stop, I told you to stop, now give it a stop. I've been known to say to people, I will not ask you twice, I will ask for the scope, I expect you to give it over. If you're a senior person, I will always say to you, would you like me to demonstrate that? That is code for convincing. As I say that before we go in the room. These are things you've got to think of when you're actually discussing with your trainees. What is expected by the trainee? They're expecting you to be there and support them. Trainees have changed over the years. Trainees are here now. They can't be just instructed and told, do this, it won't happen. What you need to do is, what are their expectations and how to manage their expectations. So, your expectation here today, your objective here today, was it realistic? Your aims today, were they realistic? We'll go back and we'll revisit at the end of the day. Given in a non-judgmental way, based on first-hand data, what you tell me today. These guys have told you their experiences. You guys are sitting there comfortable, but there will be a spanner thrown in the works at some point in time. Don't get too regulated in quantity and limited to behaviours which are remedial. So we actually look at not giving them too much, not giving them too little. We limit what they do, and we also limit what we do that influences them, so that therefore they can make decisions on themselves. It's a two-way process between the trainer and the trainee. This is what we forget. A lot of the time, training is being given in a didactic manner. This is what you do. I'm sat here. Start right. Give the scope. I'll show you. Right now, continue. That's not training. That's not support. The person has to have an opportunity to seek, to actually discover, and to make a plan. Verifiable by the trainee. Fancy words to say, do you understand? So get them to replay it back to you. Specific rather than general. If you've noticed already, I keep coming back to keeping things, breaking it down, building blocks. Linked to specific suggestions for improvement. All nebulous global terms the same, right. If you strongly apply, stop, because they'll do it. What's that? I'm saying to you, use the word slow. Always put slow in, but then you'll get sick of saying slow. So what I would then say to the trainees, throughout anything that I ask you to do, I expect you to do it slow. As their confidence increases, they'll start doing it quicker. What did I say to you in the beginning? I said, go slow. So there's no point in pulling someone back. No problem pulling someone back. Stop them. What do you think this stands for? What do you think this means? Going back, in regards to what we just said on the previous slide and this slide. How do you think this fits with what we said on the previous slide? How do you think this fits?
To the previous slide.
In relation to the previous slide.
On the previous slide, the trainer was observing the candidate, and now he's taking the feedback of his training.
When do you take feedback from the training?
At the end of the procedure.
Ah, right. Glad you said that. I hope you said that. The patient is stuck. The trainee is stuck. What do you think's gone well so far? Stop. Okay. What do you? You're not going to go through it all. You're going to say, okay. What do you think you've done well so far? Okay. What do you think? I think you've done this good. Okay. But what do you think you might do differently? And that's next time. Next time doesn't mean next procedure. It might mean now. I'm not going to be taking the scope off you. Next time, what are you going to do? What do you think you might do differently? What do you think your options are and how we can apply them? If they don't understand This is working towards when do I take over the scope. So you've got to get an understanding of what the trainee knows and understands. So even though this is a matrix that we will be using, when these guys come out with you in here, and you will be discussing with them, yes, this is the matrix that we will be using, but what we're also saying is this is also the same matrix that you'll be doing in a cut down format when you say, I'm stuck, sir, okay? How does that make you feel now? So, I'm stuck, sir.
You're asking
What are you going to ask me?
What did you do well?
Well, I've managed to get to this point so far.
Sorry?
I've managed to get to this point so far.
It's reached that particular point.
I've not said where, I've not said anything. I've managed to get to this point so far.
Yeah. No, please stop.
I should have stopped already. You've already told me to stop.
Make the patient comfortable.
Excellent. Have you made your patient comfortable? Okay. But that is jumping step. What have you done well so far? I think what we've done so far is really well. You haven't made your patient. I like it. Just made the patient comfortable all the way down. You should have done that as a foundation before you do. Any point you actually to stop, if stop, freeze, then when I said to you, let's point a few things out, I expect you to relax the scope, deflate, and then we'll talk. Then go into this. Yeah? The trainer asks the trainee what she might do, or she might do next time. You're thinking that they might go on and say, this is when you take control. Okay, no, that's what we're talking about, how to round this bend. What do you think you should do with the scope? How do you think you should orientate the scope?
No.
You
Has taken the scope.
No, the trainer hasn't taken the scope. The trainer has left the scope still in the trainee's hand. As yet, we've not taken the scope.
So that means.
Yeah.
So ये कह रहा है कि आपको ट्रेनिंग आपको प्रोसीजर देखना है स्टार्ट हो गया पहले से आप क्या
पूछना है कि उनको पता भी है कि
अगर नहीं पता तो नेक्स्ट पॉइंट होगा कि आप बताओगे कि आप ये चीज़ क्यों करोगे तो आप नेक्स्ट टाइम
Okay.
मैम मीन्स के पूछेंगे कि थ्योरेटिकल पता है कि नहीं, अगर थ्योरेटिकल पता है लेकिन प्रैक्टिकल नहीं कर पाए।
मसला क्या है और उस मसले के बाद उसको पता है कि इस मसले को कैसे ओवरकम करना है। उसको नहीं पता तो फिर एज अ ट्रेनर इट्स योर रिस्पांसिबिलिटी टू टेल। ठीक है, उसके बाद सो दिस मैट्रिक्स दैट वी अप्लाइड शुड ड्यूरिंग द procedure as well as the end. That's what it's about.
At the end of the day, just because it's very long and convoluted, you do a cut down version. You will actually do it. You'll say, sir, I'm stuck. Okay. Go by. Where are you? Where have you done? Where have you tried? Okay, stop. So, indirectly ask him, because where he is, he's done well. All right. I think that's fine. You've done good there. So you say it automatically. Then you're going to say, what do you think you could, is there anything you think you could try? Have you tried that? Yeah, okay. And then you then go and say, right, have you tried this? So indirectly, this is what you're doing. Anyway, cut down version. UK model. Performance. Time. Retirement. We have formative assessments using DOPS. We use these forms here in the department. You're looking at how people's performance goes. This is linked to patient comfort. You're looking to complications. You're looking at how the person has used sedation. You'll find that you use less sedation as your skills improve. You'll find that your comfort scores improve as your skills improve. And you'll find that that happens over a period of time. But amazingly, right at the beginning, everybody follows roughly the same arc. So in the first 30, people are struggling, don't know how to do it. The next 30, 40, they suddenly go, hey, I can do it, and they're happy. And then 70 to 100, 110, bang. They always have a dip, I call it midterm dip, and then they go off again. And then, so it goes up, it goes down, it goes up. And once they get to about 200, they just plateau below the 90% mark, which is around here. And then all of a sudden, around 250, 300, they just go above the 90% mark of cecal intubation, because we use that as a surrogate marker of an indicator of being good at endoscopy. And then we go on, performance as an individual, it varies. It doesn't go up here and you stay here, it varies. And that varies depending upon your mood, time of year, all sorts of things. Not feeling well. And that's when you can perform, and it's all monitored in the UK. All monitored. And it's now nationally monitored, which we went through yesterday with regards to NED. But that's how we also monitor trainees. And in monitoring trainees, we actually can see how their assessment is, how their progress is, how they've achieved things. And we'll see that some trainers have a better relationship with some trainees. They prefer it. In any scenario, the trainer's agenda, pre and post, and increasing trainees' awareness. So they want, a trainer shouldn't be a trainer unless they want people to improve their knowledge, their skills. But what we're talking about is not just a trainee, we're talking about you as well. Because in supporting a trainee, you are going to increase your knowledge and your awareness. Skills, you want to have the best portfolio, for the want of term, of skills, techniques. You can read about it, you can watch videos about it, but then to have someone sit down and talk you through it for yourself is nothing better. Prioritisation and time management. So when you're actually looking at, you need to actually prioritise what's important. So as I was identifying earlier in the week on the colon course, I was saying this is what's important at the moment. But sir, I'm finding this difficult. Yes, but until you've overcome this, you'll never do any good with this. So we need to keep your air to a minimum. Stop your air, bring your air down. Then what becomes important? That comes down. Now we need you to slow down. That comes down. So we bring down your air and you slow down. And all of a sudden these skills that you need supporting will improve. So you identify the basic thing within the component that they're finding difficult and you correct that. You're not correcting, I can't talk steer. That's not the problem. What's the problem? The problem is, how do you hold the scope? The problem is, where do I stand when I'm holding the scope? The problem is, how do you stand when I'm at home? So you look at the individual and you say, no, it's not the fact that you can't talk steer. The issue is that you're not holding it here, so you can't do this, and that is limited by this. Correct those two, then we can move on to the rest. So take it back, and deconstruct. And that's the most important thing. To deconstruct what they're doing enables them then to actually move forward. Keep it simple. Right at the beginning, remember? Keep it simple. I always ask, are you happy? If you're not happy, people around you will sense it. I am really happy when I'm supporting someone. I'm really happy when I'm doing a colonoscopy. I'm really happy when I'm doing gastroscopy. I'm happy when I'm here. I'm happy, you know, so I'm happy. But the most important thing then is that if you're happy, you're comfortable. If you're comfortable, you don't mind. If you don't mind, come on, ask me a question. You can ask me the questions till the cow come home. I don't care because I'm happy. That's your motivation. Your attitude is very important. Your openness, are you willing to receive? Your relationship with the patient. For those who've been on the course this week, you'll see what we place. I'm not saying we. So let's take ownership. Me. I place patient safety number one. Your training's immaterial. I don't care. Patient's the most important thing. Okay. Next thing, I place the environment, the staff, everything else more important. Your training's immaterial. See where it fits. Next thing, I feel that you have a right to have an opportunity. That's fine. Some may be thinking the right opportunity, yeah. However, you can do that within these parameters at this moment in time. You've declared this. Now, what anybody tells you, UK, estates, over here, I always cut it back by 50%. I used to see them 100% certain. I could do this without pain, sir. So I always cut it. So, but I don't tell them that. So I actually then set my expectations, what I think are realistic. So should they excel, you know, think, okay. And should they excel even more? Okay. It's not that I will actually stop supporting them in a certain ways, but it's that I won't also be putting information in that they don't need. So I won't be flooding individuals. Flooding? Flooding? Excess. So I won't be giving you, okay, give me this calculation. 1,000 times 53 divided by 40. What's the day today? Sorry, what's the day? What's the answer to the question? What's that? Too much information. Information overload. Flooding. Right, when we come to trainees, we need to set objectives. I'll be giving them, you man. So, in learning, objectives should be specific. I know you'll know this. I know you know. Don't know you, so I can't say you know this. He should know this. I don't know whether you know this. But it should be specific. So when I say something should be specific, what does that mean?
Specific means if, for example, trainee is stuck.
No trainee. What is the definition of the word specific? Forget the training.
That should be targeted, very targeted, knowledge targeted.
Okay. Measurable. How do we measure? Okay, so specific, yes, targeting. So if you can actually achieve this measurable, if you can repeat this, this is where docs comes in. 90% of the time we have to see that it's measurable. So we actually are able to do that. If you're able to get out of the sigmoid, you know, now in 70% of the cases, that is measurable. So we don't let you do that. Right. So these are things. If you can apply clockwise torque and maintain it, that is measurable. So you can measure it. Achievable. Do you think I can run the marathon?
Not at Not at the moment.
Do you think I can run the marathon?
Marathon जा सकते हैं.
Don't look at my stomach, look at me.
Is that achievable?
It's achievable.
So, Paul, so are you going to tell me I can't run the marathon? Sir, start off slowly. Walk. You know, I wouldn't bother running, I'd just walk. You know, how far can you walk? Be specific. That's measurable. Relevant. Relevant.
Related to my job, related
To what the action is right now. Timely.
that can be achieved within given specific time.
Okay. So what I would do is, okay, have another go. If in 20 minutes or so you've not been able to achieve it, I believe you've got the skills, you can do it, I'll talk you through it. So I'll tell you what I would do. I would say to an individual, right, right, so draw back, relax, put the scope down, take a breath. Right, what do you think's done okay? Yeah? Great. What you've done so far has been brilliant. What I need you to think about is how to actually go to the next step. Well, how do you think you're going to do this? And what I'm doing is giving them clues. What I need to do is for you to go to the next step. What do you think you should be doing? So that your eyes will actually pick up a lot more in communication than what you think. So when you actually observe, if I have my glasses off and you speak, guys with glasses, take your glasses off, not now, at some point in time, and somebody speaking, I can't hear as good and genuinely as when I've got my glasses on. I can't. I don't know, I know why, and I always say, I don't know why, but I do know why, but I can't. So that is what we're actually saying, is so what make sure your communication is clear and it's understood. So I would then turn around and say, right, if you're looking to actually get the scope tip, which direction, when you pull the big wheel, does the tip go now? And they'll say 9 o'clock, but the lumen's at 3 o'clock and I can't get it round. Okay, so how can we orientate the scope to get it round? Patient is still comfortable? Yeah, the patient's still comfortable. Okay, so what I would advise you to do is apply a clockwise torque. How do we apply a clockwise torque? And they'll turn around and they'll say, well, you hold the scope like this and do that. Right, so if I hold the scope and do that, is that enough torque applied to the scope? No. So start with your thumb around here, bring it round, while holding the scope continuously, bring the scope around here. So it's now, and it's, what we do then is just slowly, a little bit of inflation. You'll see the lumen coming through to you. Bear in mind that that's the lumen, and as you draw the wheel back, it shortens the scope. So I want you to advance the scope a centimetre and slowly tip up. Advance the scope a centimetre, slowly tip up. Okay? So we've done it away, and I want you to advance the scope nice, slow and steady. If I say stop, then I'll give you a little bit more support. If then, after that, I might have to take over. Is that okay with you? If you come to an agreement, away you go. And if at the end of the procedure, that's all they've done, if I just get around and you say, right, you've had 30 minutes, because we're also set a specific, measurable, achievable, and relevant time of how long they can actually, because it's not infinite. So this afternoon, the procedures you'll be doing, you'll be spending 30 minutes only in the entire procedure. So the likelihood of that scope reaching the cecum is low, so get that out of your head. Alright? If the person flies on, great, well done. But it's the whole process that I need you to go through. Setting your objectives, aligning your agendas, all these type of things. Okay? Giving you a clue about the things that we're going to be doing. So they try to go, we can't get around, that's fine, we then give them a little bit more assistance, maybe stick behind and then demonstrate, maybe even hold to demonstrate, hand the stop back, then they can go around, great. Again, if that's as far as it can get going, then you've come to an agreement. No one's disappointed because you've achieved what you needed to achieve. Everybody seems to think, I'm doing a colonoscopy, I have to get here. No. You've got to put the building blocks, the aims, the foundation, you've got to put the foundation in. Without that, you've got nothing. Once explained correctly, the individual then will be happy. Economical and reviewed. Economical. Don't say too much. That's economical. Say enough, Don't say too much. I struggle with that one. Don't say too much. I can't help it. Make sure it's reviewed. At the end of it, you come back. That's when you come back. So it becomes smarter, even. Learning objectives, to be effective, they need to be reviewed and modified by feedback. So when the person feeds back to you, you've got to be fluid. So the first thing, what did yeah, brilliant, here. What did I say to you when I had to take over that scope from guy I couldn't say his name. But it was, yeah, and I couldn't tell you, what did I say to you? He came 2 days before you guys, and I said to you, I feel I've let that man down, failed him, because if I could have spoke Urdu, I would have got that man round. And I feel I failed him. So when you're actually looking at something, it's not necessarily the individual's fault. So you can speak Urdu, you still might not get round. Is it what you're saying? Is it how you're saying it? I knew I could have got him round if I could have spoken Urdu. But if the learning objectives are written down, they are more likely to be achieved. So I got you to write down, so it's more likely that you're going to, oh, I feel good now. You wait for it. Right. So when we look at things, we also like to try and keep things happy, jovial. So I've just touched onto it and deliberately touched onto it. If I could speak Urdu, that man could have got round. If I could speak English correctly, you know, you'd understand me better. Your English is far better than my Urdu. Okay? But there is often, when we're actually communicating, we misunderstand a lot of things. Just make sure that this is turned up as high as it can.
Das hier ist das wichtigste Gerät, das wissen möchte, das Überlebenslernen.
So when you're actually aligning agendas and discussing things, what you're saying is not necessarily what's being heard. That's why we test it. If you notice on everything that I've been saying to you, we test. I say to you, do you understand? Right? You guys have been guilty. Guilty. Because you look at me going, yes, I understand. I keep saying it. Then we turn to Sajda. And then Sajda then own the moment. Please, it's not an embarrassment if you don't understand what I don't get embarrassed. If you think the fact that you say, I don't understand what he's saying, can you tell me? It's not an embarrassment to me. So own the moment. You got your phone on?
Can I ask a question related to this specific target? We have given you, you have written the objective or objectives. But how would you measure it? These objectives would be measurable, and that's been written on the paper. How can we say this is measurable?
You jump in your step. You jump in your step.
Sorry?
You jump in your step.
Okay. Sorry. Thank you.
You jump in 3 hours.
Right.
At the end, I'll let you know what, because
It's okay.
What happens is that we look at them, you'll look at what you've been doing, and then you'll come back and you'll go,
That's right.
So what did I say to you earlier about communication? So therefore we've misunderstood the dialogue. I take my glasses off, I struggle to see what's going on. Now, I've got another clip for you, and it's very important. So with pens and paper, I need you to actually count how many times the ball is passed. Okay? Novel, how many times the ball is passed? I knew you're on your mobile phone, I'm looking at the floor, don't worry. I'm a bugger.
This is an awareness test. How many passes does the team in white make? The answer is 13.
Did you get it?
Yeah.
Get it?
But did you see the moonwalking bear?
That was missed. ये मैंने काउंट नहीं किया था बट नोटिस किया था बट दैट वाज वो जो ब्लैक एंड व्हाइट को दिया था देन
नहीं ये जो बीच में डांस कर रहा था उसको देखा था नोटिस किया था
नहीं, उसको नहीं किया।
दैट्स व्हाट इट्स ऑल अबाउट
Can you see it again? Sorry, this was
This
misunderstood.
is an awareness test. How many passes does the team in white make? The answer is 13. But did you see the moonwalking bear?
Right.
not that relevant. What are they trying
You got it?
Yeah, there you go. So after pointing out, they said that they can see that.
So, what is the purpose of that slide?
This is a phrase that when mind doesn't know, eyes doesn't see. Then that is it.
I like that. I like that. It is true, but what happens is, also it can actually talk about focus. So you could be, the trainee could have asked you about a specific thing, and you're blind to everything else that's going on. And you forget about various things. Your job, your role, is to make sure that you, at all points, opportunities arising, you try to avail yourself of always being able to see them as you're walking there. Example, the other day when we were in the room, I have this habit of scanning. So I'll look at the trainee, look at the monitor, look back here, look down there, check the stuff, come back, look at the trainee, look up, and you've got an extra monitor to show the room. I was able then to see what was going on in the room, and somebody was doing something that I highlighted yesterday, and then I'd go back, and I do it all the time, scanning all the time. It's when I don't have to input anything to the trainee, so always scanning the room, finding out what's going on, finding out, listening to what's behind you, listening, your ears, your eyes. Now your eyes will actually tell you an awful lot. And this is what I'm going on about my glasses. You've got, I wouldn't see that moonwalking there. So, but in the same thing in the room, it's not just opening your eyes to what you're focusing on, which is the trainee, it's opening your eyes to everything else. Again, patient yesterday, lady, quite, also seems to get dropping. Trainee was very focused on the procedure. Didn't have to tell them to stop because what they were doing, they were actually doing it very nicely. Just asked them to pause a couple of times. There's a difference between stop and pause. Stop, you stop. Pause, relax. The reason why I say stop, you stop so that you can actually address rather than actually open your hands. And I get them to pause, there is a difference. And then, they kept dropping up and down. And then in the end, looked, and the oxygen can be detached. So then I'm happy. That then goes on, then everything comes up. But your role is to manage the environment, the entire environment. Your role is not just to support the training or the trainee. Your role is also to support the staff who are in the room, and their role is to support you. So you are not up here and they are down there. You and those guys are working together. So, another, it's not a trick, but it helps, I believe, is that I will actually talk to the tech guys, nobody's seen me doing it before, the nurses, right, this is what we do, this is what we achieve, this is what. And at the end of it, I'll get them to feed back to the trainee, because they have a different perspective to you. How did you do? What do you think? Now, this guy might be, oh, what are you getting them to do? That's what they do. Man, they've seen millions of procedures. If they think you're okay, then you could do what you need to do. Okay, that's fine. That confirms what you're thinking. So, just because
You have to collaborate with your staff and you have
absolutely, I agree with you. If you're asking me, I'm telling you yes. If you're telling me, I'm saying I agree with you. Now, we're coming to a point where we'll have a short break in a moment. You've heard me wobble on for a few moments. These are very important terms. These are the terms I want to hear when you're actually supporting your trainee today. Why do you think we're using these terms? So the basic terms, they're not in necessarily any order of priority. So, stop. You'll know because you can have a call. So you know. So he'll have this one. I may use the word stop, and he'll go. Everybody always gets shit. But he knew I was going to do it because I've done it to him before. I said, don't be offended by the word stop. That's the biggest thing. So you'll hear me saying these terms. Do not be offended. Stop isn't a bad word. Stop is a safety word. So, and these are the things you're going to use. And you do this right at the beginning of any session. Next patient is coming in, then you set your learning objectives for that procedure. Pull back. I don't mind if you say withdraw. Pull back. But for the purposes of the next process, which we'll be going through in a few minutes, is pull back. Advance. Blow. Sulk. Tip up. Tip down. Tip left. Tip right. Okay? Clockwise torque. Anti-clockwise torque. Slow down or slowly. I'll write it on a piece of paper in a moment. I'd like you to have a think about the terms. We've been going for an hour and a half. I think that's long enough. I'm just going to go and freshen up a little bit. And then we'll go into the room up above. And we'll be using these terms. So we'll be going on to a mannequin in a few moments. But before we move on, how do you think this morning's gone so far? How do you think this morning?
It's good. We have done a lot of things to train our juniors.
If I was to say to you that this would normally, to get to this stage in the UK, it'd be 6 hours in. We'd be 6 hours in. We'd be starting at 8 o'clock and we'd only be at 2 o'clock now to get to this stage. Okay, so I've cut a lot out because I don't believe that you need that stuff. Okay, I don't believe you need that. But what we're moving on. So how do you think it's going?
Still fine.
Still. How do you think it's going? Happy. Right, so what we'll be doing, please have a bit of a rest, a couple of minutes just to get you to talk amongst yourselves. I'll be writing this down on this, I'll be taking this up to the room in a few moments, and then we'll do an exercise in the room. Okay? couple of exercises. When you've had a chat, I have a chat with you as well, and then this is something Sasha doesn't know from So, we're going to do what we do after that, and what we need to do.
That's